things to say, and then we'll take questions. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Welcome back to campus. It's been a couple weeks, I guess, or not quite, or right at, I guess, and it's been awesome being welcomed back here, and just thank you to all of you that cover our program. I really appreciate all of you. So obviously today is a exciting day. Just announcing a class and so much more that's continuing to evolve with our program. It's exciting, it's growth, and that's what it's all about. Every day getting better, and today we got a lot better. There's no question. So 5 signees today that I'll certainly go into a little bit of depth with and be happy to answer some questions. But the top priority was to get the guys that were committed. The guys that when I looked at them on paper and watched their film and just understood more about them, were guys that loved this program, had deep ties to it in some ways, whether it's because they were committed for a long time or local, whatever it might be. But that was a top priority. Excuse me. We have 2 guys from Arizona. We have 1 from Nevada, and then we have 2 guys that are local that I'm super fired up about. Before I get into each one of those, it's a 5 guys in the class right now, and it's going to be a small class. It was going to be a small class even before I got here. When you look at just the seniors that graduated, there was only 6 seniors that graduated. There are a few guys that are leaving early for the NFL, and so we'll be replacing those. And then of course be a few guys that leave. I'm sure. With the portal and everything. And I think a lot of those guys kind of had their minds made up, but they certainly did a great job of being respectful and giving us a chance to talk with them, now as I've been here on campus. So it's going to be a small class. There's just not a lot of spots to fill. I think looking at the class, moving forward, I think we're in a really good place going into February. Our January leading to February signing day with laying the foundation on a few guys that we'll work hard to get, that we see as guys that can help us in our program. I think there's also a continue to evaluate once we really get to be around our team in January, which is one of the benefits of being a quarter system. We'll get to see our guys in January when the staff returns or is here and the players return. And then we can make some more decisions on exactly the holes we need to fill in the areas where we identify needs. But I feel like we're in a good place moving forward with some of the other top prospects that won't be signing here in the days ahead. So as a whole, I really feel like this is a talented group, and obviously that's your goal. But they're a talented group. I think I love the length. Big on length. Obviously, speed's a huge deal. But I love length because, you can put weight on length, and the game was meant to be played physical. And, those guys putting some size on over the years as they develop in our strength program, be something that certainly, will pay huge dividends. And I think just in general, these guys are rock solid guys. Identifying guys that are talented is one thing, but the support system that these players that are joining us, our prospects that are joining us have, it's really impressive. And it's been fun getting to know their families even more, even others, support systems, their coaches, whoever it might be. It's been fun getting to know them here just in the last really week and a half, and already building some strong relationships with them. I know they're fired up to be dogs. We do have 2 guys that will be joining us already mid-year, and I'll get to that here in a second. And those guys are ready to go. I know we're going to make an impact. So just getting to the 5 gentlemen that have signed with us here today. Give you the names first and then talk a little bit about them. But Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver, 6'1", 196, from Liberty High School in Las Vegas. Denzel Boston, wide receiver, 6'3", 191, from Emerald Ridge High School here in Washington. Parker Brailsford, 6'2", 255, from Saguaro High School in Mesa, Arizona. Lance Holtzclaw, an outside linebacker, DN type, drop end player, 6'3", 201 from Desert Ridge High School in Arizona, and Ryan Otton, local, and obviously brother of Cade, tight end, 6'6", 224 from Tumwater here in Washington. So just a few notes kind of about each guy, and then, of course, answer any questions. Jeremy, first of all, he'll be a mid-year, and just a very dynamic player, just really special, committed early in the process, well over a year ago, I think at the end of July, and his tie-in and his energy that I think he's going to bring, just because he's so comfortable, so familiar with this program already. It's truly exciting, and I think him seeing what we were going to do offensively got him even more motivated and excited to be a part of it. And he's just such a dynamic guy, wildcat, running back, punt return, kick return, just everything he does. It's impressive. He had 3 punt returns, 1 kickoff return, an interception for a touchdown just this last year. So not going to get too much into stats, because I think in the releases you guys can all see that. But I think the other pieces, durable. I've written durable, that he's a durable player, just with the physicality he plays with and the ways they utilized him. I thought that was really impressive. Great balance. And then I think most importantly, he's got a maturity about him. He's got a focus about him, where he really understands what he wants to do and his goals ahead, whether it's at this level or beyond. And he understands the work that it takes. And again, that goes back to just how he's grounded because of the support system that's around him. He was the first committed in this class, again, going way back into 2020. So Denzel Boston is another wide receiver here, Emerald Ridge High School. I think, really just getting to know him, he really just wanted to stay local, and when I saw the film, I wanted him to stay local too. There was no question. He just is got a long frame. The catch radius is enormous. He's been so consistent from year to year, and I'm fired up about him. I think he's going to put on some good solid weight, and it's only going to make him quicker, twitchier, which he already has, and he's just naturally skilled. Great body control. He loves football. There's no question in my mind. He loves football, and he's got a smile on his face. I think it's something where just you can see. I think it's be something that's contagious as we build our culture and our team. I think he's one of those guys. It's very evident to me just in the way he talks. He loves ball. That includes the hard work that goes along with it. He had over 100 yards a game a couple years ago in the shortened season. So fired up about him. Again, I'll let you look at the stats, but I know he's going to be exactly, he's a good complement between he and Jeremy. They complement each other coming in this class as wide receiver tandem. So pretty exciting there. Offensive lineman, Parker Brailsford. He's one of the guys that we didn't get the whole staff or the people that are here a chance to meet, just because he played in a championship game this weekend, and they ended up winning it. He comes from a great program, top tier program. Won the state championship. He's going to be a mid-year guy, and just meeting him, he's that kind of dynamic personality. I'm going to use that a few times here on a few guys, just because I think it's a great word to emphasize what these guys are like. They're not just great football players; they're really good guys to hang around. They're the guys that you just want to sit around and hang with, hours upon hours. And he's really smart. You can see it in the way he plays. You can hear it in the way he talks. He's athletic. When you watch his film, you're going to see him finishing, going to the whistle. Right? We're not going to go through the whistle. We're going to go to the whistle. But he finishes, and guys are on their back, and over and over and over. He's got that nastiness in him that you really want in an offensive lineman. So twitchy, explosive, runs well, athletic, just really good body control, again, in a different way than when I talked about a receiver. But I'm fired up about Parker. Lance is one of those guys, first of all, just personality-wise. I can't wait to get him in the locker room, because he's an all-in guy. I think wherever he's at, it's about the friendships and the relationships that he has. And he's one of those guys that's just going to infect your locker room in a positive way, because he's a team player through and through. And again, he's an explosive guy. Kind of see him as an edge guy, weak side defensive end, outside linebacker type player. He's he's got a frame to grow into, got that burst that you really like to see, and just again, I go back to the personality, and the personality is fun and easy going, hanging out with, but he's also got this intensity about him where he knows what he wants. And, just like his coaches all verify, he knows what it takes to get what he wants. And I'm excited about that. You can't go away from a guy whose nickname is Showtime. So that was certainly jumped out at me the first time I talked to him on the phone, and I learned that. So, and last but not least, Ryan Otton, tight end, and comes from a football family, that goes deep. And I think, everyone understands that Cade being here had an amazing career and amazing football player. I think with Ryan, you're going to see him make a name for himself. He has never said that, but I think just in the way he goes about things, I think that's a big deal. And, I think you're going to see, just because of the ability he has and the type of person he is, the character he has, you're going to see exactly that. He's a tight end that, in our offense, is so important, whether it's giving you the extra gaps and alignments, control in the middle of the field in the pass game. He's got that nasty to him, much like I talked about with Parker, where he's going to finish and, make sure he gets not just his job done, but he gets it done at a high level. He's a, guy that I think, we have him listed at 224 right now. I think it was the last time any official measurement was made anywhere that we could get our hands on. And he's probably going to be 250, 260 by tomorrow. I just see that with the frame he has. When you have that length, it's easy to put it on. So no question that he wanted to be a dog. And, even through the times I had a chance to talk with him, it was evident that way. And so happy to have him. And I think just one summary of all these guys again, these guys come from great families. And family is a word that we talked about a lot when we were talking with these guys, and the family of the players, but also the family community that we want to have as a program. And they add to that and make us better that way. So before I open for questions, I know there's probably questions on staff updates. We've officially announced just 2 coaches that are on staff: Coach Ryan Grubb as our offense coordinator, quarterbacks coach, and Julius Brown at corners. Off the field, Courtney Morgan as our director of player personnel, and those guys have been doing an amazing job, just beating down the pavement and getting the recruiting going. We are very close to expecting to make some more announcements here very soon in the next couple days. So all excited about that. That will be a lot of fun to share that with you. I'm super fired up about the direction that's going. So, any questions?
Coach, how many of these players did you have relationships with before you got up here as the Husky head coach? And when you came in and visited with them, you said it was great building relationships with them, but were they kind of skeptical, or were they all just accepting right away?
Yeah, I had zero relationships with any of these guys. And I think in general, you are always skeptical. I'm not going to sit here and say that, they see the announcement and it's just, here we go, I think the relationship that we're building is at the lowest level right now possible, because when they leave here, we'll truly understand what relationship building is all about. And so to answer your question, I did not know any of these guys or have a relationship with them. I knew names, but that was it. And it's just, these guys are special guys, and the talent spoke for itself. But the character, as I got to know them, and they're just fun guys to be around. And I think they all, just this group right here is gonna be a great core to build around. Just rough math. You're talking 6 seniors, and I think four or so. So we're probably talking right now, as at this time, you're probably talking about 15 guys, that, and I'm giving you a rough number, just 15 guys that there's kind of open slots, and obviously you have your initial counters and things like that. Now, is that going to be all high school guys? I think there'll be some more announcements here officially coming from us on some others that will be joining our program as well here in the next day or I shouldn't say next day, in the next couple days to the next upcoming week.
What has the last couple of weeks been like in terms of the scramble to get here and to assess the current roster and to assess your existing commits and what you need, and just What have the last couple of weeks been like from that perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I expected. I've been in different ways, transitions, head coach, assistant coach. I mean, you're in it, and you really are in your own world, just in focusing on two things, right? The staffing and your team, and building your team with the recruits. So really, that's where you put 100% of your focus each and every day. I love it. I enjoy it. Getting to know the guys and having them come in between calls and in between visits when I was on the road, weekends, even on the official visit this weekend, just having guys come in the office and just the current roster I'm talking about, coming in the office and saying hi and spending 15 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes with a individual or a group of guys. I love it, but that's really where most of the time's been spent.
Coach, can you kind of give us the nuts and bolts how you put a recruiting class together in 2 weeks? Were you depending on written evaluations? Were you depending on former coaches that were, maybe not returning? Just how did you do all this? Maybe a little bit of nuts and bolts on that.
I think looking at the class and a little bit of everything you just said. You have a recruiting department here that is in the know and understanding, and I think does a really nice job of knowing the conversations that have been had by the past staff and doing a good job of value. They're here for a reason, and they gave me some good insight. Then you put on the film and it gets supported, and talking with some staff that were here as well, who's been great. They've been all great. That's been helpful. But I think more than anything, you put on the film and you see the talent, and then you go to the next step, which is talking with the high school coaches and so forth. And getting in their homes and seeing the families and being around them. That's just like the top tier of it, where it's just like, okay, yeah, we got what we want, and I'm super excited to have these 5. We need to be selective, again, just going back to the number of spots that we're going to have open here in the program at this time, which, knowing in this world of college football, how quickly that can change.
I know obviously nothing's official yet on this from you guys, but just in general terms, what has your approach been to the quarterback position so far, just in terms of evaluating what you have on the roster and recruiting for that position?
Yeah, I think there's 2 very capable, right? We have 2 very capable guys that have been well known in this program. Sam and Dylan, and just getting to know them has been awesome. I mean, these are top tier, just character guys, and it's fun getting to know them. Coach Ryan Grubb being here as the offensive coordinator, getting to know. I know he spent a lot of time. I did early on before he even got here, and I know he's done a lot more of that. But you can tell that they're hungry, that they're excited, and I think it's understandable that you can't just have 2 guys on scholarship in your program. My philosophy would be that you recruit a guy every single year. Try to tier it, have it segmented, 1 guy in each class. Understanding how things work, there might be a guy that leaves, and you have 4 quarterbacks on scholarship. Just not that long ago, I've even felt like we have 5 quarterbacks sometimes slotted, and I've had that before. I think reality of where we're at now in college football, that's tough to have, and so 3 gets a little scary. Been there before. 3 gets a little scary, just having that number on your program. But it's good for competition. It's good for making sure you have safeguards against injury, if it does come your way. And I think, again, it's about the group being in the room together and the character they have, supporting each other, competing. And that's what I think we'll do a great job of doing, not just in the quarterback room, but all positions. And Ryan Grubb's going to do a great job with that quarterback position specifically doing that.
On that subject, having 3 right now, one that you probably can't talk about yet, but do you feel like you need another one in the 2022 class here?
I don't think you need one, but if you find the right guy, you certainly look at it. And it kind of depends on how things play out, with the 2023 class, just getting that cycle and just trying to develop that the best you can with the facts that you have. A year from now or even 6 months from now, we might be talking a different scenario, because there are some uncontrollable things that from our end as coaches that we can't. But that's our goal, is to build strong relationships in that room as well as the others, to where they buy into the philosophy we have, and they're there to support each other and ready to compete.
Speaking of building strong relationships, what was it about Courtney Morgan that just attracted you to him? Just kind of talk about your relationship and
Yeah.
what made you decide to bring him in.
Yeah, Courtney. I think everyone probably was aware, spent a year with him, in 2020, got him on board probably, spring. I think he was there maybe a couple of days and then COVID hits. And so, when you go through the toughest times, you find out what type of people you have around you. And we went through that time and, there's furloughs going on and there's, Zoom calls and trying to figure it out. And this is a guy that just stays the course and you talked about relationships and that was your question. He's amazing with it. He loves the process. And I think that's when we announce the staff and the direction we're headed, you're going to see we have a staff that loves the process of building those relationships and getting to know the guys, looking under every stone to find the most talented, not the ones that necessarily always that appear to be the best, but the ones that are the most talented that you can develop and fit what you want to be. And that's always, usually the guys who are the most talented, but I think the character piece and all that comes into play as well. Courtney, I think it will be probably documented. Was involved in building some great classes the last 2 years wherever he's been. Actually, you can go back 3 or 4 years. It's not a coincidence, that the success of those programs is a result. It's not a coincidence that the success happens where he's been, including us at Fresno State, where we had, a big surgence of better players from 2020 to 2021.
You talked about the 5 new guys, the recruits. Are there any other additions or subtractions on the roster that you can tell us about?
No additions. Subtractions, I'm not ready to do that yet. So there are some guys I know that will be or in the process, if they haven't been out already. But I just want to verify some things exactly where they're at in that. So don't want to go down that road quite yet. But I appreciate the question.
Nationally, Dabo Swinney of Clemson made some remarks that made headlines this morning. I don't know if you saw it.
I have not.
But, he talked about the transfer portal and what's going on nationally. He said it's really sad. There's right now about 2,000 kids in the portal, and most of them don't have anywhere to go. There's so much tampering going on, and so many adults manipulating young people. Mm-hmm. It's sad. How does that correspond to your experience?
Yeah, it's where we're at. It's sad that it is that way. But there's arguments the other way as well, right? I'm here, and just not long ago, I never thought that this would be where I would be at. I sat in front of a team myself, and the last game I was with them, really didn't see this as where I would be. And that team's getting, they're getting ready to play a bowl game this weekend. At that time, I fully thought I would be there. And so, as coaches move, you got to try to find that way where you can give the guys some freedom. But the part is that exactly what you're saying is where it gets hard, because it does seem to be out of control, and finding that fine balance, I think, is what's going to be the tricky. I don't know what the solution is, but I just always, I think whenever I talk to guys, I always want what's best for them. I really do. Because what's best for them, I hope, is being a part of our program. But this window of opportunity they have to play college football is small. And you want them to enjoy it. And that's why I coach, and I have to protect our program and make it the best it can be. But in the end, and I think taking having this philosophy, I think is what has helped me have our success, or help the success of the programs I've been at, is by just giving everything to those guys and talking it through with them. And if that is what they feel is the best thing for them, then that's what it will be, and I can live with that. But I don't know what the solution is. It to me would be very nerve-wracking if I was in their shoes and I entered the portal, not knowing exactly where I'm going to be going. So, we'll be, I'm sure, dealing with a guy here and there, in the days, weeks, months, years ahead.
Following up, how much has the degree of difficulty increased for you as a head coach in this environment in terms of recruiting?
I think it certainly is more difficult, no question. And I think I think the NIL thing adds another level above and beyond. You always used to just feel like if you just built this strong culture, that just made it hard to absolutely, extremely hard for guys to want to leave because they just are involved in the friendships and the relationships they have. But there is more to it now. There's definitely more to it. But that's, I guess, how I know how to make it to where it will be hard is just diving into them with jumping in with 2 feet, and that's what our staff will do. It's been successful. If you look at the core guys and the team that we had the last 2 years, the key guys were all there. They were all there. And again, some of those guys that left where I was at was, in result just to have a better opportunity to play more, which I totally get. And this is coming from, again, I know it's documented, I'm a small college guy, and I wouldn't trade my experience for the world because the friendships that I had and the memories I have on that team and that program are special. And, I think that's what I'm trying to do here with this program is make special memories, special moments, build a team to where it's really hard to leave because they see what they have, not just in the resources, the support, the history, tradition, the success we're going to have, but they also just feel something even deeper than that being a part of our program.
That's Holtzclaw. I think it had said he wanted to wait until February to sign, obviously ended up signing today. How important was it to you guys to get him on board today, and what do you think it was that made him ultimately decide to do that? Yeah,
I just think just kept getting to know him. It was middle of last week before I got a chance to really get in front of him, and man, that's hard. You don't know what's going to happen, and then finally a coach gets announced, and then it's still, that coach is working on other things and finally gets a chance to be with you. You can FaceTime, you can talk on the phone and as much as you want, but I think in his mind at that point, that's probably what he was going to do. And we just stayed the course and kept talking and kept having conversations. And I think the more you do that, the more they understand that, hey, this is the right place to be. And I'm really excited that he made the decision to sign with us today. And he's going to be a great football player for us.
Kalen, when do you think you'll have your staff put together? And is it 8 more hires?
Yes, it would be 8 more, and it will be happening fast here. Yeah, it would be. It would probably be in a couple different waves. Next couple days, it shouldn't be much longer.
Have those decisions been made, or
for the most part, yeah. And there's just some few things we just got to work through with a few decisions, but few things that just got to be worked out.
The positions for recruiting that you need to fill still, and maybe some transfer portal, is there 1 or 2 positions that you take a look at the roster that you really feel you need to add some depth to or prioritize in recruiting right now?
Yeah, I think you look at the first just numbers, right? And I think linebackers and places where we're just short numbers, in that room. Not even talking the talent level, because there's some talented guys in that room, but just numbers, because those are your special teams guys as well. Those are the guys that take a lot of snaps in a lot of different ways. And I think just in the secondary, probably more towards the corner, just looking at it. I think that position, you have a couple guys leaving for the NFL. Obviously, there was some highly talented guys there. And so that's where my eyes and that's where my I jump to right away when I look at it, and I think a lot of that's been supported. So, we've talked about the quarterback spot needing at least another guy in my mind, and we'll go from there. But but I don't feel like it's anything where we're in a desperate position. I really don't. I feel like that's part of recruiting. That's part of building a program. Every single year, you have guys graduate. And you gotta just keep building it. Guys are gonna step up. There's guys in this program that are gonna step up, and this spring, I'm not saying it's a surprise. This is gonna be ready to go, and it's their time.
With all the coaching changes the last couple of weeks and months in the country, Do you feel like there's more talent that is waited to sign until February than previous years? How would you describe how much talent there is still available right now?
I don't know relative to the past, but I do feel like there are some talented guys, certainly that we have identified that we want to continue to pursue and get in our football program. So relative to the past, I think one thing just in general last year is the spots where there was a huge concern because of COVID and just spots limited, super seniors, all that kind of stuff. So, rosters were filled up. I think more than they are probably back to a little bit more of a normal size than they have in the past. So that's probably true. And I think from both ends, there's probably some guys out there, the coaching movements that you're talking about, guys are just holding on, like just making sure they make the right decision. So I think all those things are true.
Do you prefer 2 signing days, or are you okay going back to 1?
I think it's good to have 2. I definitely think the earlier one is important. Just think about what January becomes when you don't have this. And, you got backup plans, especially now with the portal and being at one time in the one-time transfer. I just think that it's good to be able to just know where you're at. And know where you're at, and then you can help guys. You can help figure out what the next moves are that you need to make and fill in your roster.
The general philosophy on the number of offers you'd like to put out in a class. Some schools go 400, some schools go 100.
I wouldn't say. I would like to think that when we put an offer out there, it's committable, and so that usually. Is more on the lower end then. I think the philosophy would be more on the lower end. I just feel like when you're putting an offer out there, it's an offer. And so I want to be careful not to put an offer out to a guy that, is something that he can't respond to and be on board with. So those that, when you have, like you said, you use the number 400, when you have 400 offers out there, to me, how do you really know? Like, you want the best guys that you can possibly get at the right time, and just the timing of it is such a big part of it.
Coach, I know you've only been here a couple weeks, but you recruited at Indiana, Fresno, now Washington. What's the difference in your recruiting to Washington as opposed to where else you've been?
Sure. I think there's more of Indiana to Washington is probably the best comparison as far as the size, right? The level. And I think there it was, you certainly had like satellite areas that you went to, and you're trying to win the state. I think we have a much bigger section, when you think about the West Coast. Obviously, you're always starting in state, but the West Coast, I think, in general. And then I know as soon as we do get around, and I think there are some at least one satellite area that I could see us, working with, going into a little bit more. And so, we'll figure that out. But I think it certainly is a region, and the program over the years here has just had so much success, and so I think being able to identify and when you make an offer, really have a good chance of getting the guys that you've identified, I think is certainly been shown, and I would expect that again in the years ahead.
Coach, I know you mentioned the word twitchy a couple of times.
What is it?
Twitchy, I think.
Twitchy,
you said
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Could you just explain what that is to you?
Yeah, I think just being sudden, being able to move quickly, just probably a combination of being explosive, but I just think those sudden movements are, you got to get there as quick as you can, right? And the first steps are just those sudden movements and sudden change of direction, whatever it might be. I think it pertains to pretty much every position. It might be a little bit different per position, but a Parker Brailsford, I think, is probably one of them I used. He's not going to be the same. It's all relative. It's not going to be the same for him as it is a guy like Jeremy. So.
What has been the toughest thing for you coming up here in the couple weeks you've been up here?
I don't know. I can't. I think it's just it's what you expect. Everything has gone as you expect. It's just you take one day at a time, and you just go about your business, and I can't say it's anything that I didn't expect from getting the job. So I can't say that there's been something that's just tough. I think the job in general, whether you're the head coach, assistant coach, I think it's a tough job, all around. So, but it's a job I absolutely enjoy. I love it. I love going to work and trying to make our players' lives better and trying to find that staff member that can really give us a spark in a certain position or be a little different to where we can tap into that person's strengths. And I love it. I love the challenge of building it, with all the different departments that are involved, whether it's academics, strength and conditioning, you name it.
One last question, from me at least. They did a story on the Navy coach and how he wants his coaches home by 6 o'clock to have dinner with their families every night. Are you a coach who prioritizes that, or are you like, hey, we need to get the work done and we need to get it, whether that's 8 o'clock at night or whatever?
Yeah, we'll have a set schedule every single day, in season, out of season. It's different based on the time of the year, and I think that's more than anything, just so everyone knows their free time, their time to. But I think where you're getting is family time and things like that, and that's a huge piece to me. It's important to me. I think number one, coaches are going to know that their families are always welcome to come up. The guys that I'm hiring, I know are extremely hard workers, and they will put in more time, honestly, than probably I'll be pushing them out of here, because I think rest is important, and having a fresh mind is really important, and they push that just because of the work ethic. But there's times, I think, throughout the year where you get a chance to just take that breather, or it's just a little bit different schedule, and I think you build a staff that you trust. And when you trust them, you work with them to help make life enjoyable, because there is more to it than football.
All right, very good.
All right, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.